Welcome from the Salt and Light Media Studio at Nebraska Family Alliance. I'm Nate Graz, Executive Director at NFA, and today we have the incredible opportunity as we prepare to celebrate America's 250th anniversary to sit down for a special one-on-one conversation with the Governor of Nebraska, Jim Pillen. Governor Pillen, it's an honor to have you with us in studio today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Nate, it's always a privilege to be with you and your team and what everybody and all the stakeholders in Nebraska Family Alliance do. It's extraordinary work. Privileged to be here.
Yeah, well, we're grateful. And, I just think this is such a interesting and important time in the history of our country and right here in Nebraska.
Yeah.
And, as we're preparing, just to pause and reflect on 250 years of American history and the values and freedoms that built our nation, that we're still fighting for today. What does that mean to you, and how does that impact your role as governor?
Yeah, it's a goosebumper, right? It's really time for us to sit back a little bit and have a full appreciation of how blessed we are. How could it possibly be that God's allowed us to be here at this incredible time? 250 years of the greatest country in the history of civilization. Yesterday we had an incredible moment being out west, and touched me deeply because flew over the 40,000 acres that were burned west of Chadron around Crawford, and then Fort Robinson. Fort Robinson's an extraordinary treasure. Then again, most of us Nebraskans take for granted. But remember, Fort Robinson's a key part of our liberty and our freedom because they were the cavalry. Thousands of horses were kept there. And, you just ask the question, what would it be like if we didn't have the cavalry? And the work that our volunteers and all the team around did to keep the fort safe. And when you fly over it, it's incredible. So just phenomenal things in our 250th year celebration. And I think the thing that I would ask people to contemplate on our 250th anniversary is, what does freedom mean to each one of us? And I think that's a critical thinking moment that maybe helps us take it really deep.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I remember the famous quote from President Reagan that freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction, and something we can never take for granted. We have to defend it and pass it on to the next generation, and that's on all of us.
And it's a great opportunity to just continue awareness so that everybody thanks our veterans.
Yeah.
Because without our veterans, without young people being called to serve. I mean, I met a young student that's 13, and he's dressed in a brigade uniform, and he has his plan of what he's going to do in service. Just incredible stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I do want to ask you mentioned being out west. Obviously, the wildfires have been it's a terrible disaster this year in Nebraska, and even still recently. You've been out helping to respond to the wildfires. What are you seeing in those communities that have been impacted, and how can people help support those relief efforts?
It just takes moments. In the fires, there's probably 30 different ranch families that are just trying to figure it out. And so I think that when people say, well, I can't do anything, well, you can. If you live in Omaha, you can give some resources. Omaha Community Foundation wildfires. We've got an awesome volunteer firefighters association that there's a lot of work we need there. If you're a cattleman, we have the Cattlemen's Association, Department of Agriculture. So those are some really easy places that you can give resources to. Certainly lots of prayers for the people, because there's, it's going to take time for people to heal. It's going to take time for our land to heal. So prayers and resources, and the Nebraskans, amazing stuff. And it goes again when Nebraskans, a rancher is told, hey, people want to bring you hay, and they'll say, hey, Nate, no, don't give it to me. My neighbor needs it worse. Wow. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah, I think that we're really seeing, those community values and faith and family in action
It's
across our state.
those aren't social issues. Those
Yeah,
are values.
yeah,
Those are the values that instill who we are, and we're going to fight like heck for those.
yeah. That's exactly right. And on that, recently we got to join you for a really important proclamation that
Mhm.
you signed recently, actually, to declare June as Marriage and Family Month in Nebraska.
Mhm.
This is something that a number of states around the country have done. I believe this was the first proclamation like this in Nebraska. And the proclamation was just really celebrating and highlighting the fundamental importance of the nuclear family, that
Mhm.
moms and dads matter to society, and that really it's the family that is the foundation for civilization. And what a great opportunity to highlight and celebrate the family in our state. But why was that something that was important for you to do?
Well, I think it's really important that we have to speak our existence into existence, if you will. And I think it's things that we've taken for granted because of how we raised and grew up, and just really, really important. Every day that I walk into the governor's office, I take a look at it. On the north side, on the right side is a picture, and it's totally it's a mother and child. It's motherhood,
Yeah.
and then on the other side, it's matrimony. That's the Capitol was built 100 years ago. It's tied and true, and it's been since the time of the start of
Yeah.
God, so it's important that we speak about it, we talk about it, and it's a it, it's common sense and no brainer, and it's time we start talking about it more
Yeah.
instead of being quiet.
Yeah, and we see just so many different, attacks on the family and traditional family values, and there's a reason for that. So I think you're right. We have to be willing to step up and speak the truth and support those values. And again, especially as we're at America's 250th anniversary. I think it's amazing that today, I think the greatest threat to our nation, it's no longer a foreign king or a foreign enemy. It's really what's
Within.
happening here and the moral collapse of our culture. And so we have to be willing to continue to stand for what's right.
And think about just simple things, simple things like, okay, let's take our family to church.
Mhm.
Simple things like, let's could we try to eat maybe a meal a day or at least 3 meals a week together? There's so many barriers that have been developed as this country has developed that ding away at, hey, I love sports. I love my grandkids being in sports, but if there's practices and there's all this stuff, we have to find time and try to beat some of those barriers down and say, no, I'm not going to let that happen in my family.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. And it's defending those values. And you actually recently were here to signed your signature in support of the Fairness for Girls
Yeah.
ballot initiative. And this is all about protecting fairness and safety and opportunities for the next generation of women and girls in our state, and ensuring that girls' sports is actually for girls, and that girls aren't being forced to compete against men or losing those scholarships and championships and opportunities to men. And so this is something, we've been working in support of for years. And now through this initiative, we'll have the opportunity to put it on the ballot and actually into our Constitution to protect girls' sports in Nebraska. Why is that something that you personally wanted to sign your name to in
Well,
support
it's,
of?
we did it a couple sessions ago with Stand With Women's
Yeah.
Act. Common sense, we fought really, really hard for that. And it's just simply a no-brainer to put it in our Constitution. In Nebraska, we're common sense. We're about faith, family, hard work, the American dream. We're about uh, things that go way back to biblical times. And so it's a no-brainer. 80 to 90% of every Nebraskan agrees they do not want their granddaughter playing sports against men and boys. And it's about the American family. It's about what's right, and it's about keeping our kids safe. So really, really important, and this will be a landslide victory this fall, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, yeah, we're looking forward to getting it done and actually having Nebraska be a leader on this issue nationally and to be among the first states to actually provide constitutional protection, for fairness and safety in girls' sports. And what an incredible opportunity!
Great
to do that.
opportunity to, again, make sure we stand up for our values,
Yeah.
what makes us who we are. I love asking it all the time. What do people that move to Nebraska, what do you love the most about Nebraska? They can't get it out fast enough. It's the people, the people, the people, the people. And what makes us special? It's the values of who we are.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And one of those values, that we celebrate and work to defend is religious freedom and protecting the First Amendment rights of all Nebraskans. And recently, you also issued an executive order to protect religious freedom and combat anti-Semitism here in Nebraska. Why was that an executive order that you felt so strongly about, and to protect the faith and religious freedom rights of citizens in our state?
We've been talking about it from day one that I've had the privilege to be governor about love and life is what makes Nebraska so special. Any kind of hate, the anti-Semitism's, it's a scourge across society, and the more that I have the privilege to interact with the Jewish community in Nebraska, and I see the pain in their eyes, and then we spent time last fall on a solidarity and trade mission to Israel. The Jewish community has been fighting for their lives forever, and they're incredible, incredible friends. And it's not only wrong for anybody that we treat that way, but they're really, really strong allies and important. So it's, again, common sense, right? It's common sense, and it doesn't matter where anybody comes from. Let's just be respectful, and let's not go there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no Nebraskan should ever be forced to live in fear or to have to retreat from civil and political life as the cost of following their faith. And so we're going to continue to defend and promote religious freedom in Nebraska. And that's really what built our nation was religious freedom.
It's and it's one of the key things on our 250th anniversary of our nation is what's freedom mean to you? Well, there's religious freedom for me to be able to speak the way I see it and to worship however I do, worship my God. And it's really, really, it's again another really, really important piece of who makes us who we are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've got to talk about faith, family, freedom. And the last thing I wanted to ask you, actually just a couple months ago, earlier this year, you participated in one of the most important initiatives we've been a part of called America Reads the Bible, where for a full week, the entire Bible was read out loud over our nation from Washington, D.C. by hundreds of leaders, governors, cabinet members, senators, pastors, even the president of the United States, all came together just to read the Word of God. What was that experience like for you, and how important of a role is faith?
Well, first off, a kudos to Family Alliance it's unbelievable what was all put together, and that was incredible. But I talk about it as goosebump moments, being in the Family Museum, and it was an extraordinary moment, extraordinary privilege to be one of 500 people, and being able to stand up and read Daniel's story and bring it to life. It was a special time.
Yeah, we were honored to have you there, and we're grateful for the work that you and your administration are doing in our state. And we're going to continue to stand up for our values and to pass it on to the next generation.
It's really, really important. And maybe I'll leave the last one. I think that's really important is that I learned from a tribal leader early in my governorship about everything we do today is important. It lasts a long time. And I said, I got to go. So, no, Mr. Governor, it lasts for 7 generations. And I think we need to be thinking long term. We stand up so that what is really, really important today stands the test of time for 7 generations.
Yeah, our kids and our children's children are counting on our faithfulness today.
100%.
Yeah. Well, Governor Pillen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Nate. Great to see you. Thanks for all you do.